Hi, welcome to Eagle Recaps. Today we will be going through a Thai martial art action film called Ong Bak. Warning, this video contains spoilers, so watch at your own risk. Watch out and take care. The movie is set in the village of Ban Nong Padu in rural northeastern Thailand. We see a group of young men trying to climb a tree to retrieve an orange flag. Each of them tries their best while also making sure that none of the others is successful in achieving the feat. At last, a villager named Ting successfully retrieves the flag and emerges victorious. Ting offers the flag cloth to the temple of Ong Bak, which is an ancient sacred Buddha statue worshipped by the locals. After a while, a smuggler named Don from Bangkok arrives in the village to buy statues. He tries to buy a Buddha amulet from a local man at a low price, but the man is not ready to sell it. Instead, the man says he is saving the amulet for his son, Humle. Failing to strike a deal with the man, Don's eyes fall upon the sacred Ong Bak statue. Later that night, we see Ting practicing the art of Muay Thai, but his master warns him not to use his skill against another human. Ting's uncle reveals that Ting's master unwillingly killed his opponent using Muay Thai, and ever since that day, he decided to become a monk. The next day, the villagers discover that the head of the sacred Ong Bak statue has been decapitated and stolen by Don and his men. The whole village falls into despair as they believe that without Ong Bak, their future is doomed. Meanwhile, Ting volunteers to travel to Bangkok and recover the head of Ong Bak. Before leaving, the whole village gathers to bid good luck to Ting and also donate a bag full of money to help him in his journey, who are street bike racing hustlers. Humlai has dyed his hair blonde and goes by the name George. Together with Moi, Humlai scams a local dealer named Peng by fixing and winning a bike race. But soon, Humlai's cover is blown and is badly beaten by the gang. Upon arriving in Bangkok with a bag full of money, Ting meets up with Humlai, whose face is covered in wounds. Humlai instantly refuses to recognize Ting because of his appearance and corrects him by saying his name is George, not Humlai. Ting even shows the letter given by Humlai's father, but he shows no interest in it. However, when Humlai notices the bag of money carried by Ting, he invites him over to his room. Later, Humlai tricks Ting and steals his money to bet in an underground fighting tournament. Meanwhile, Don is there to sell the stolen Ong Bak's head to his boss and crime lord, Kam Tuin. But Kam Tuin is not impressed by Ong Bak's head, as he had ordered him to bring the Buddha amulet. He gets angry at Don and orders him to go away along with the stolen head. Meanwhile, Ting somehow manages to arrive at the tournament and demands Humlai to return his money. Instead, Humlai points at the betting counter, signaling that his money is there. This prompts Ting to unknowingly step inside the fighting ring and challenge the current champion. To everyone's surprise, Ting stuns the entire crowd by knocking out the champion in the ring with one kick. His extraordinary skill grabs the attention of Kam Tuin. However, when he is offered the cash prize, Ting rejects it and just takes back his share of the money that Humlai stole earlier. Later that night, Humlai finds the letter written by his father, in which his father wishes him to become an ordained monk. Instead, Humlai gets angry and throws away the letter as he feels no compassion towards his village. On the other hand, we see that the village of Nong Padu has been hit by an awful drought after the Ong Bak's head was stolen. The next day, Humlai and Moilek team up to scam in an illegal street gambling booth. After winning a huge sum of money, Humlai and Moi are seen splitting up the cash. Just then, the local drug dealer Peng arrives at the scene and demands Humlai to clear his debt. Humlai immediately gives away all the money that he and Moi won to Peng. Nevertheless, Peng starts beating him up for scamming him. Fortunately, Ting happens to pass by and saves Humlai and Moi from the thugs. In exchange for his help, Humlai decides to help Ting to locate Don. Moments later, Peng returns back with a huge crowd of thugs and starts chasing the three of them. After a series of long chases, Ting fights off most of them and helps Humlai to escape. From there, they return to the underground fighting bar, where a new fighter named Big Bear is announced as the reigning champion. Soon, Kam Tuin notices Ting's presence inside the bar and manipulates the situation to force Ting to fight against Big Bear. After Big Bear starts torturing a bar girl, Ting is forced to fight him and save the girl and her boyfriend. Without much effort, Ting manages to defeat Big Bear, which angers Kam Tuin as he had placed huge bets against Ting. but when Ting tries to leave the arena, he is stopped by another martial arts fighter. After defeating the second fighter, Ting meets his final challenger, Mad Dog, who is supposedly the best brutal fighter around there. The fight between Ting and Mad Dog continues for a while, as the crowd continues to cheer for both of them. After a while, Ting eventually manages to defeat Mad Dog and become the champion of the arena. Ting also earns the respect of the crowd for defeating 3 opponents consecutively, as the crowd starts throwing pennies and coins at him. After the fight ends, Ting spots Don inside the bar, but moments later, the place is raided by the police. This forces Ting, Humlai, and Moetek to flee from there. In the next scene, we see Don in his hideout with his girlfriend whom he regularly abuses. When his girlfriend requests Don that she wants to quit drugs, he stuffs her mouth with a load of cocaine. After a while, Humlai and Ting are able to locate Don's place and arrive there. However, Don manages to escape in a tuk-tuk and calls for the aid of his fellow tuk-tuk drivers. This triggers a lengthy chase among Ting, Humlai, Don, and his men. The chase ends at a port in the Chao Phraya River, where both Ting and Don crash into the river. Inside the river, Ting discovers Kamtuin's cache of stolen Buddha statues submerged underwater. Later that night, a reporter announces that the statues are recovered by the local police, which is believed to be priceless, as all of them are part of the national treasure. In the next scene, we see Kamtuin questioning Don about Ting in Angbak. Don reveals the details and explains the whole Angbak situation to him. The next day, Kamtuin sends his thugs to kidnap Moilek and Humlai. Kamtuin then reveals the Angbak head to them and tells Humlai to ask Ting to fight his bodyguard, Saming. Kamtuin promises to return the head and release Moilek if Ting intentionally loses the fight. Ting got no choice left, as his only goal is to return the Angbak head to his village at any cost. The fight takes place in a boxing ring near the Thai-Burmese border, which hosts a large audience. Kamtuin places a huge bet against Ting to recover back his lost money in previous fights. While Ting gets ready for the fight, we see Saming injecting himself with drugs to enhance his strength. The fight begins and Saming seems to be invincible, as Ting's punches have no effect on him. At last, Ting is forced to throw the match against the drug-enhanced Saming, and Humlai throws in the towel. After the fight is over, Ting and Humlai are approached by Don. Along with his men, Don brokers a meet-up with Kamtuin at an abandoned petrol pump. However, Kamtuin retracts his promise to release Moilek and return the head, since Ting has already cost him millions in losses for the statues. Instead, he orders his henchmen to kill the trio and meet him at his cave. However, Ting and Humlai manage to subdue the thugs and escape from the place. Ting forces Don to reveal the location of Kamtuin's hideout. From there, Ting and Humlai head to a mountain cave, as instructed by Don. Upon arriving, they see a bunch of Kamtuin's men guarding the entrance of the cave, whom he fights off without much effort. As Ting proceeds to go inside the cave, he is repeatedly met by Kamtuin's thugs, who are determined to stop him. However, Ting defeats each one of them and arrives at the center of the cave. Inside the cave, Ting sees Kamtuin's men decapitating a giant Buddha statue, while Kamtuin and Saming stand in front of it. Kamtuin is also holding the Angbak's head with him, and challenges Ting to take it. But once again, Ting's path is interrupted by Kamtuin's men, who are there to stop him. Ting engages in a fight with them, while also saving Humlai. Later, Humlai's arm is broken by one of the thugs, after he tries to save Ting. Ting defeats the remaining thugs, and his only remaining opponent is Saming. Kamtuin also warns Saming to be careful, as previously Ting lost the fight intentionally. As Ting and Saming engage in a fierce duel, Kamtuin's men continue to decapitate the Buddha statue in the background. The fight proves each of them to be equal at first, but later, Ting proves to be much stronger than Saming. Frustrated from his loss, Saming injects the remaining of his enhancing drugs into his body to fight Ting. Just as Ting approaches Kamtuin, a resurrected Saming stops him. This time, Saming seems to be unstoppable, as he chokes Ting with his bare hands. However, Ting recollects his strength and manages to free himself from Saming's hold. Finally, Ting lands his final blow on Saming's skull to finish him off. Moments later, Ting is shot on the shoulder by Kamtuin, but Humlai arrives just in time to save him. Just as Humlai picks up the Angbak's head, Saming appears once again to attack him, and the head rolls beside Kamtuin. Fortunately, Ting gets up to stop Saming from killing Humlai. Unable to accept the fact that he has lost, Kamtuin gets up to destroy the Angbak head with a sledgehammer. However, Humlai immediately jumps to protect it, taking the brunt of the hammer blows. As Kamtuan continues to strike Humlai with the hammer, the giant Buddha statue head behind him suddenly starts creaking. The head eventually falls upon Kamtuan, crushing him to death, while Humlai manages to roll away just in time. In the aftermath of the fight, the giant Buddha head is revealed to be made of gold. Ting finally gets hold of the Ong Bak's head, while a fatally injured Humlai lies under the rubble. Moitek arrives at the scene and is heartbroken to see Humlai in such a condition. With his dying breath, Humlai urges Moitek to continue her studies and find a job to settle her life. Finally, Humlai requests Ong Bak to tell his father that he is sorry for all that happened. With Humlai dead, Moi starts crying and screaming, as he was the only one who took care of her. In the last scene, we see that the head of Ong Bak is finally restored in Ban Nong Perdue, with the villagers worshipping in front of it. Meanwhile, Humlai's ashes, carried by an ordained monk, arrive in the village in a procession on an elephant's back, while the villagers and Moilek celebrate the return of Ong Bak's head. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and turn on notification, as it helps the channel. Take care, and goodbye.